Mega yachts are quite common amongst the rich, and alongside jets and mansions, they are one of the biggest signifiers of their status to the rest of the world. Mega yachts are luxurious vessels with a professional crew, with dimensions ranging from 79 feet up to 500 feet in length. There are a lot of expensive yachts out there, and we're going to be looking at the top 5. But even as we speak, now more than ever before, the ultra-rich are spending a lot on the construction of more of these luxury vessels. Sam Tucker is the head of super yacht research at Vessels Value, a leading vessel valuation company. When asked, he had a few things to say about the mega yacht market from 2020. The market's been roaring. Demand for extravagantly high-end yachts has outstripped supply, and it's impossible to get a slot in a new build yard. They're totally booked. In other words, 2020 was a great year to be rich or to be a mega yacht manufacturer. Any rich person who owns a yacht would want for the ride to be just the way they pronounce yacht, with the C silent. And this is something they take into their own hands with the exotic features and designs they implement on these seafaring vessels. So in this video, we'll be looking at the 5 people who have splurged the most cash in their journey across the 7 seas. But first, from us, number 5, Dubai, $400 million. In 1995, Blohm and Voss, in collaboration with Lursen, began the project of building this ship for the Bolkiah of Brunei, Prince Jeffrey. However, he didn't go through with the construction, so that by 2001, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the ruler of the Emirate of Dubai, would have taken over and completed the project. This was the largest yacht from 2006 to 2009, with a length of 530 feet and a beam of 72 feet. It has since been replaced as the biggest boy on the 7 seas by the Eclipse and the Azam in that order. However, it still boasts some of the greatest luxuries that one can experience within its 8 decks that can provide space for 88 crew members and 115 guests. Guests are privy to a 10-meter swimming pool, a squash court, a cinema, 20 water bikes, a disco, a lobster tank, and a pristine dining room that seats up to 90 guests. The ship also has a helipad and 2 long motorboats, and the 4 MTU 20V diesel engines will yeet all this luxury across the open seas at a speed of 26 knots and a distance of up to 8,500 nautical miles at a go. Number 4, MYA Plus, $527 million. When it comes to mega yachts, the Emirati are the leading customers in the market. They own at least half of the most expensive super yachts in the world, and the A+ at $527 million is one of them. It is owned by Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the owner of the top English soccer club Manchester City. He's worth $22 billion. He's the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates and a member of the Abu Dhabi royal family. The A+ is 482 feet long and has a beam standing at 70 feet. However, the vessel is still able to move its massive weight across the ocean at a service speed of 22.9 knots and a maximum speed over 25 knots. This speed comes from the twin peel stick engines that generate 7,990 horsepower each. A+, formerly called Topaz, is currently the 9th largest yacht in the world, despite being launched in 2012. It has 8 decks with a swimming platform and a swimming pool, double helicopter landing pads, a jacuzzi, a fitness hall, a conference room, cinema, tender garage, and underwater lights. The rooms are large and clad in luxury designs, and the crew and staff take care of Sheikh Mansour and any guest with the best culinary and hospitality treatments. Number 3, Azam, $605 million. This mega yacht is owned by Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Bin Zayed Al Nahyan sound familiar? That's right, Sheikh Khalifa is the half-brother of Sheikh Mansour. And as the head of the ruling family of the UAE, Sheikh Khalifa is also the chairman of the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, which controls assets worth almost $900 billion, the most managed by any ruler anywhere in the world. But I digress. The Al Nahyan is surely an interesting family, and maybe you can let us know in the comments if you'd like to see a video about them. So when you consider all this wealth and status, having the largest private super yacht in the world at a price of $605 million at an annual cost of $60 million will not seem like such a big deal anymore. The yacht was built and released by German shipyard Lursen Yachts in 2013, and it has a length of 590 feet, a salon at 95 feet, and a beam of 59 feet. And yet, despite its huge size, the 2 gas turbines and diesel engines generate up to 47,000 horsepower, enough to move the behemoth at a top speed of 32 knots. And while the vessel darts through the open seas at high speed, its 60 crew members and 35 passengers take it slow and soak in the beauty of the earth. the water, which is probably what the fishes call the planet. However, unlike our planet, the Azam is properly named, and the name of the yacht being an Arabic word that translates to resolute in English. The foreship is about 50 meters in length and has a helipad on it. Inside the multi-decked yacht, there are about 50 guest rooms, a master suite, and several other immaculate amenities meant for royalty. The interior design was done by Christoph Leone of Naughty Yachts. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about this yacht is that it took Lursen and Leone just 3 years to build this wonder. At almost 600 feet, the ship is 57 feet longer than the next yacht on our list. Number 2, Eclipse, $1.5 billion. Blohm & Voss are a subsidiary of Lursen, which is probably the top shipbuilding company in the world. In its beginnings, Blohm & Voss specialized in building military vessels, with the Bismarck vessel being its most iconic. They launched the Eclipse in 2010, 6 years before being acquired by Lursen, and stands at 533 feet. It was the longest yacht until the Azam came along in 2013, and today it remains the 4th longest super yacht. The Eclipse has 2 powerful diesel engines that propel the yacht at 22 knots with almost 40,000 horsepower. In staying true to their military history, Blohm & Voss have attached a missile detection system and a submarine that will submerge as low as 50 meters into the water. However, defending against military attacks is not all there is to this yacht, because what form of attack is more insidious than the piercing camera lens of the paparazzi? That's right, the ship comes installed with an anti-paparazzi system that stops digital cameras from taking a shot. What the system does is make use of a laser shield that beams infrared light to detect a digital camera and focus bright light on it to render any photo useless. Basically a high-budget, high-tech version of the police shining a torch in your eyes and then proceeding to slap you in the face. Eclipse has 24 guest cabins, 2 large pools, many hot tubs, a disco hall, and 2 helipads. The vessel is owned by Russian-Israeli billionaire businessman Roman Abramovich. He's also the owner of the English soccer team and current champions of Europe, Chelsea Football Club. And when he and Sheikh Mansour are done playing in the 7 Seas, they go head-to-head in the English Premier League and other European competitions. He and Sheikh Mansour splurge a lot of money on their clubs, sometimes too much, that the authorities have to slap them with a fine. But as nothing Mr. Abramovich can't deal with as his Eclipse super yacht, which is currently worth $1.5 billion, is only a fraction of his $18 billion wealth. Number 1, History Supreme, $4.8 billion. This vessel is the smallest on our list, it's not remarkably fast, and it has the least amount of utilities, but is the only one covered in gold, platinum, and other luxurious metals. And that's enough to shoot up its price to a whopping $4.8 billion, making it the most expensive yacht ever sold. Now that is a lot to spend on a boat. It is said to have been designed by Liverpool luxury designer Stuart Hughes in 2011. When Hughes announced the project, he didn't expressly state who the owner was, but gave hints to suggest it was Malaysian billionaire Robert Kwok. He is one of only 3 Malaysians with a net worth of over $5 billion, with the other 2 having a net worth of $5 billion and Kwok having just over $10 billion. That makes him the clear culprit since the ship cost the same as the net worth of the other 2 billionaires. The yacht has a luxurious master suite with a wall made from meteoric stone, with a sculpture made from real T-Rex dinosaur bones sourced from Arizona and said to be worth $89,000. You know, the way people hang sculptures of dead animals in their house, only richer this time. It's no surprise seeing this ship from Stuart Hughes, seeing as he loves to slap gold, diamonds, and more on iPhones and bottles, raising their value to insane prices. Now these yachts are all very expensive, and you wonder what good could come from this level of vanity. Well, let's hear from Peter Lursen, the CEO of Lursen and kind of like the highest authority when it comes to yachts, as we've seen in this video. He says that on the building of Azam, about 6 million hours of manpower was used, and this translates to employment for over 4,000 families. And that's not counting the number of jobs being created while maintaining these vessels. So you begin to realize that the luxurious lifestyles of the wealthy actually fund the lives of regular people. But what do you think of the 5 most expensive super yachts in the world? Which one was your favorite? If you had $10 billion, would you buy a yacht? If not a yacht, what would you rather buy? Let us know in the comments below.
This is Ocean Alexander's 28 Explorer. It's a rather fabulous super yacht. We're going to head on board and give you the full tour of this. And we're going to start right here at the Beach Club. This is becoming really popular, this idea of having a massive deck right down at water level. And in fact, you can expand this because you see how this is teak faced here. That's because this whole section will hinge down flat. You can do the same on the other side. It just makes this just a massive beach area. See, there's a crane there. That, of course, is so you can lift your tender onto here. You can put jet skis on here. that kind of stuff. There's a bar area here as well, as you can see. But we are going to head up this way, and I'm going to give you guys the full tour. So as we step up here, this is then up onto the main deck. We've got this beautiful seating area here, very shaded as well, because they've extended the bimini right out across there, if you want it. We'll head inside first of all. Have a look in there. It's a very contemporary layout in this one. In terms of colour schemes, materials, all that kind of stuff. Very modern, very, very good looking boat. So we've got the lounge area back here. There's a massive television here that drops down from the ceiling. Bar area is over on this side. So what we've got in here is things like the wine cooler. You've got the sink, of course. Fridge in here as well. And then ahead of that is the dining area. And what's really nice about this is the fact you've got sliding doors on both sides. So you can again open this right out, really connects you with the water. And you can see they brought the bulwarks down as well with the rails on top of them. So again, you can see right out across even when you're sat there dining. We'll have a quick look around here at the galley area. That's in through here. And that is across like so, so a load of refrigeration. Your cooking is in here as well, of course. You've got your dishwasher, your trash compactor, all the usual stuff that you would expect to find. Ice maker on this one, I noticed is switched on. If people who've wondered what ice makers look like when they're working, that's what they do. They just constantly produce ice. Fantastic. Let's head back out of here and head across. And what we'll do, we'll head forward first of all. It's owner's cabin on the main deck on this one, which is nice. We've got the day heads in here for this deck. If we come on around, that's the access down to the lower deck. We'll take a look at that in a minute, but we're going to go forward first of all into the owner's cabin. And the big news with this one is this massive window across here, and you've got them on the sides as well, of course, but it just throws so much light into here. It's fantastic. It just makes it really, really comfortable feeling, and with that contemporary colour scheme, it's just a bright, airy, casual sort of space. Very nice indeed. We've got walk-in wardrobe over here, like so. And then if we cross over onto the other side, then of course, dressing area, more storage, and a really nice ensuite. Toilet is back here on one side. Shower is on the other. Bits of storage around the place, like so. So that is that, but that I think you'll agree is a lovely, lovely cabin. Okay, let's head on back a bit further. Hi. This is down to the lower deck, so all your guest accommodation is down here. We'll head aft first of all. So you've got two pretty much identical cabins here, you can see splitting off. So if we go into this one, double bed, again, it really is a feature of this, is the big windows and the views out of here. Look at this. You never forget that you're on a yacht. It's fantastic. Storage all the way across here, of course. There's a little dressing table in behind the door, AV equipment, all that kind of stuff. And then if we look in here, we've got toilet, shower, and so forth. If we head across the boat then, very similar deal on this side. Double bed. Let's pull that one across, you can see the little dressing table then. Hanging lockers over here, drawers underneath, little bedside tables, all beautifully done, isn't it? TV is here as well, and if we head back, ensuite with the big shower. Fantastic. Okay, let's move forward now. Love this passageway through the centre of the boat. It really gives a sense of the scale, doesn't it? What we've got here is a little area you can use for whatever you want. So like a little gymnasium, you might perhaps want to put some chairs in there, make that into a media room. My guess would be you could probably have this fitted out as another cabin with bunk beds if you wanted to, but it's just a great space to use however you want. And you've also got then the utility area in here as well. So the washing machines are here. that one there, another fridge for this deck, and then you've also got a freezer compartment in here as well. So that's really helpful for when you're on a longer passage to give you just a load more space. If we cross over to the other side, 2 singles in this one, again with a big window. The circular section is an opening section, and then ahead of here is, this one's ensuite. And if we come back from here, we can head forward again, and there you've got your VIP guest cabin. This is a lovely size. So right up in the bow now, you can actually see the shape of the hull coming in on both sides. If we look around here, walk-in closet again, drawers down underneath, like so. And of course this has its own ensuite, so that's in here. And the shower in there. Very nice indeed. Okay, that's the lower deck. Let's press on a bit further. We'll come back through here. These are the steps that we came down. So we'll head back on up. But what we're going to do this time is circle round, and you'll see there's another stairway here. This will take us on up. These are just clip-on over sections so that it protects the steps, obviously during the boat show. It's a very sensible idea. And if you come right on up, you get this fantastic sky lounge, and the helm positions up here as well. And of course, by putting this up here, this is how you release so much space on the main deck, because all this is kept completely separate. The other thing you gain from putting it up here, of course, is a tremendous view, because you're very high up, and so it's a very commanding position. You've got your multifunction displays across here, so camera systems, navigation. The boat control system is here as well, as you can see. So it's on lighting at the moment. And then your usual engine controls, steering, and these 3 very nice seats across here. That's fantastic, isn't it? What else have we got? Little writing desk up here. That's rather nice. And then this great chill out area. So it's a bit of a more casual area than the main saloon. And another bar area over on this side. That is a nice space. And again, you're seeing it again and again, these massive, massive windows that they've put into this. And see it on the other side as well. So the whole boat just feels so light and so airy. That's fantastic. There's a day heads on this level as well for the upper deck. That's tucked away back in here, like so. And if we head on back, another of these powered doors. And we're out onto the upper deck outside. So what you've got here is this great little dinette area, and then sun pads on either side of a big hot tub. I'll just show you the the barbecue as we're going past. There we go. So that's underneath there, and then you've got fridge, usual bits and pieces, like so. Let's head right back. This is the hot tub. Obs. Great place, because of course you've got the view right out across the back of the boat there. We've got the bimini up at the moment as well. That can be taken down if you didn't want it there. And then big sunbathing areas right the way around. That's a really lovely social spot. There's so many places to gather on this boat. It just works brilliantly. Okay, we'll go and take a wander around the decks, and then I'm going to show you the crew areas and the engine space. So we'll come down this one. What we'll do this time is take a loop around this side. This is up past the main saloon. These are these doors that I mentioned that slide open by the dining table. And these cutaway bulwarks that we spoke about, you can see how they raise back up here once you go forward. We'll take these steps up here. This is bringing us up onto the bow. And you've got yet another lovely social area, because sunbathing is up here. And then check this out down here. That's fantastic, isn't it? You can go up this way as well. It's actually asymmetric decks, so you'll see that the cabin comes right across to this side. There is the side deck down this side, and that's to give you more space inside. This one here is that window that we saw in the owner's cabin right at the front of the boat, so that's what's throwing all that light into there. Let's step right up here, and you can see this, then there's access once again onto this sunbathing area. Like so, a very noisy aircraft going past towing a banner. You get a lot of those here. But yeah, great zone that, very well protected by the bulwarks going around. Superb. Love the decking on here as well. It's interesting that the way the planking goes across, normally it's sort of lengthways like this, but this looks really good in this herringbone pattern, that works well. Anchor handling kit is up here. Superb. Okay, we'll come back down here. That's the wheelhouse that we saw, the bridge, call it what you will, driving place. But we'll come back down this side. The last thing to show you then is the crew quarters and the engines. So we'll come right on back. Loop on past here again. I love the fact they've put this like a glass screens across here, so again it gives you that connection with the water. Okay, let's head on around here. What we've got here then is this door takes us down into the crew areas. So if we step into here, you can see we've got control system for the yacht again is on the wall just here. Come right on down. Laundry facilities are down here. There's a crew mess area, like so. Inside here, you've got, this is probably the captain's cabin because there's a double bed in here and then an ensuite with a separate shower area. And if we head on across here, what we've got is another cabin in here. This has got 2 singles in, so you've got basically 4 crew, but there's like a storage or utility area here. You've got your snap-on tool chest, that sort of thing. But the other thing that you've got here is, if I lift that, and that, I should be able to hinge that one down, and then you've got another bed there as well. So if you wanted an overflow crew cabin, that's the 3rd cabin there. Let's put that one back, and there we go. And then bits of extra storage and so forth, like that. So that is the crew area. So if we head on around here, this is the access obviously into the engine space. And in here we have a pair of MAN 1650 engines. These are giving the boat about a 20 knot top speed, cruising at 15 to 17 knots. So it's going to give the boat around 400-ish mile range. But the other things we've got in here then is stuff like the generator you can see down there, the air conditioning is all the way across there, the control panels for the MAN engines, another generator on that side, more air conditioning, always very important on a yacht like this of course. And yeah, these are the engines. Conventional shaft drive, so engine here, gearbox on the back, you can see the shaft now going back out of the engine, similar deal on this side of course, and the hydraulics here for the bow and stern thruster. Fantastic. That, I think, is about the size of that. Let's come back out of here. We'll take a loop on round. Head back up. And I think we will finish up on this lovely aft deck with the noise of the airplane still buzzing around us. Okay, let's finish up here. And I will say massive thanks to Marine Max, they organised this tour. Huge thanks as ever to you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of this one. Hit subscribe if you've not already, and we'll catch you on another one of these real soon. Take care. Bye-bye. About 2.5, 3 years ago, Prestige brought out an X70, which was a very interesting, sort of trawler style almost, planing flybridge cruiser. It's been a successful boat for them. They've sold, I think they sold about 15 or 20 of those already. So they've brought out an X60, and it's very much along the same sort of lines. So you get that forward sloping windscreen here. You also get the lack of side decks. In fact, they have put one side deck on this. The X70's got none at all, which means you get the massive space inside, and I'll show you that as we go on board. But it's an intriguing looking boat, and it's an intriguing layout. So I'm going to take you on board of this one and give you the full tour. We're going to sneak on the back here rather than going around the proper way. I try not to fall in the process. Did say I'd film it if I ever did. You know what, I'm going to put it in a bit. There we go, look at that. I'm so strong. Okay, so we've got high-low platform at the back. As it drops, these become steps down into the water. That's a really nice feature. And this is nice too, this big lounging area right on the back of the boat. That cantilevers up and out of the way when you're not using it, but it's a great place to sit, obviously, when you're at anchor. There's crew cabin access here too. I think what we'll do though is we'll head straight on inside first of all, work our way through the interior, and then we'll come out and look at decks, engines, crew cabin, all that kind of stuff. Now this is what I mean about the side decks. They have put one down on this side. The X70 didn't have it. But if we look on the other side, no side deck. And what that gives you is access forward down the outside of the boat, of course, because you've got it on the port side, but then a massive saloon area for a 60-foot boat. That's really big. What's nice is they put doors in here as well, so you get loads of air and ventilation through. Means when you're sat here, you've got a view out that way as well, which is lovely. And then in we go. You've got a table here. This will fold up. If I move that out of the way, like so, and those slide away. They're just supports for the table, of course. Two entrances. This one takes you down to the lower deck, and the owner's cabin, this one takes you down to the guest accommodation. So we'll head forward first and work our way back. Another thing they've done with this, they've gone away from the aft galley layout that is so popular. They put it in the centre. And what's great about this is when you're stood here, you can look right out across the people you're talking to, right out across the back of the boat. That looks really good. And in fact, they've got what they call the infinity transom. Can't see it very well from here. I'll show you when we go around the outside, but it's basically the back of the boat is a glass panel. Some nice touches here. This one is a high-low storage area, so you can prod a button, probably that one, and the one behind it goes down. Okay, there's two of those. There we go, that's that one. So those will drop away completely, but it means that you can use those areas that you normally can't get to. There we go. We've got the induction hob, we've got the Miele oven there as well. What else have we got here? This one is just storage and bins, but this one is a dishwasher. And then you've got more storage around on this side as well for glasses and other bits and pieces. And it's up here too, he says. Tearing a panel off the wall. Is that storage? No, it's not, it's a vent. It's a good job it didn't pull too hard, isn't it? I expect that one is. Yeah, there we go. So that is that. That'd be a good outtake, wouldn't it? On the other side then, we've got more of the galley area, so big fridge freezers on this side, and also, again, this is all storage down in here. And underneath here, I won't open it all, but you get the idea. And there's a wine cooler as well, that's tucked away in there. And the other thing I really like is this little chill out area up here. I think that's great. It's a great place where you can come and sit and get a great view out. If you're underway, you can chat to whoever's at the helm. That's brilliant. Helm itself is over here. We've got a lift bolster on this, which is quite handy for when you want to stand and drive, but also means you've got really good access out and through the side door. And then here you've got your engine controls. You've got your joystick controllers on this one, which links up the engines and the bow thruster to give you joystick maneuverability. That's the VHF radio there, and then your multifunction displays are here. And it's a forward sloping windscreen, as we saw from outside. And what is good about that is a couple of things. First of all, it allows you to take the accommodation further forward because you don't have that sloping away and taking up all of the bow. So you need, if you imagine if that was coming the other way, it would come right back up here. But the other thing is you don't get the sunlight beaming on it in quite the same way. So it does help to keep things a little bit cooler. We've got hatches up above and they open so you can get more ventilation through the boat. But that is, I think, quite an impressive main deck. Anyway, let's head on forward. I will show you the guest accommodation and then we'll come back and show you the owner's accommodation and then we'll go around the rest of the boat. So down here, let's go right up into the bow first of all. VIP guest cabin, really good size actually, I like that. And then, as you'd expect, you've got your little desk here, you've got TV on the wall, you've got a big, it's almost like a walk-in wardrobe really, isn't it? Because you've got the storage in here, you've got the hanging rails down around here. That's very nice. And some nice finishes in here. Look at the way they've done the sort of the fluting across the headboard there, and then you've got this dark panel here, just to give a bit of contrast. And if you go over this side, yet more storage. Like so. And of course, this cabin is ensuite, so that's in here. We've got the wash basin and we've got the shower. Now this, as I say, is ensuite, but you'll notice there's another door here, so this can be the day heads. If we close that one up, you'll see how that goes straight off of there, so people can come down and use the loo without going into any of the cabins. But also, rather importantly, it means that this can be used by cabin 3, and that's over here. So again, decent sized cabin, 2 single beds in this one, bit of hanging storage in places like this. And at night, they'd pop across the corridor. Important thing, obviously, when you're in there, lock both doors, make sure you didn't get a visitor from elsewhere. Now, there is a little secret hiding under these stairs, which I didn't find initially, so I had to get somebody to tell me where it was. However, if we lift these up...
Ta-da! And the Dyson also, we put the Dyson there.
Ah, fantastic. So there we go, with a suitably French dinar, is the washing machine. I didn't know where it was, so I had to go and find somebody to show me. It's pretty well hidden in there. Brilliant, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Fantastic, let's carry on with the tour. I'm going to show you the owner's domain, because that is completely separate, which is a rather nice feature. So if we come right back here, I like the lighting that they put into here, that looks good. And then back here you can see, as the owner, you get your own private little zone back here. Now you do have to be a little bit careful as you come into here. If you're tall, that can be a little bit sudden. I guess how I know. But a lovely cabin once you're in here. And in fact, headroom is brilliant once you are in. I'm 6'1". See, I may have said once or twice before, but just to give you the scale, that's the kind of room that you've got. And it's a nice cabin. If I spin this on around like this, that is pretty impressive, isn't it? Got a lovely little couch in here, tuck yourself away, etc. Huge drawers here. But also, big walk-in wardrobe. It's proper luxury stuff, isn't it? Now this is quite clever. You might have spotted this. I was going to try and keep this as a bit of a secret. But what they've done with this is they've linked this through to the heads. So if we come over here, separate entrance, brings you into the heads. You've got your sink and you've got your toilet, and then the shower is in the centre. Now you might wonder about the logic of that, and I'll explain it to you. You can come in here in the morning. You can have these doors closed. These are pocket doors, so these slide across when they're not pinned back. You come here for the professionalism, don't you? Aha! Da, da, da. There we go. Seek and you shall find. Okay, so imagine this is all closed up. You open this one in the morning, you come in here, you clean your teeth, you do whatever else you need to do, and then you come in here for a shower. All very lovely, big rainfall shower, super. I'm all nice and clean. Let's get out of here. Let's go and get dressed in our lovely walk-in closet. Pick out a nice shirt, find your favourite pants, get yourself dressed, and there you go. Fantastic. Again, some nice features. Look at they've done this headboard across here. Love these lights too. They're rather sexy, aren't they? Fantastic. So that is the interior. We need to look at the deck areas. There's also a crew cabin, and we need to talk about engines and performance. And we need to see what's in here. Okay, circuit breakers in there. And in there, all very get-atable. You've also got some of the safety functions, so fuel shutoffs for generator and engines, fire extinguisher, it's automatic fire extinguishing, but there is a pull for that, so you can manually override it. Fantastic. Okay, we will go out through this door, I think. That would be quite nice, wouldn't it? And take a stroll around the decks. Let's head up this way first of all. And this is rather nifty because they've managed to create a sunken section here. So rather than this being raised up, that's lowered down, and it means you step down into it and it makes this lovely little conversation pit. That's fantastic. Pop-up lights, and we've got a bimini on here as well. But this is a great place to come up here and chill out. And you can see that forward screen, and you can imagine if that screen went the other way, how much extra space that would take up. If we go back then down this side, this is the side without a side deck. So it's not going to take us terribly far, but where it will take us is to that side door. Which is locked. But you can walk back into the interior that way if it was unlocked. Moving on. We'll come back this way. I meant to do that, honest. There's those hatches up above the helm. If we walk back down here, I like this kind of super yacht overhang that they've put on here. That's rather excellent. You see it's got all lights underneath it as well. Very splendid. This is nice and high too. You feel very much like you're in the boat here as you walk down here. So we'll come right back aft, back to the cockpit. Now, and I want to talk about this because what they do here is they make this all owner specification. You basically buy the boat with nothing here, and then you put freestanding furniture. So this owner's chosen this rather big settee here. There's the table, and then there's these chairs on this side. The table itself is bolted down, but this is freestanding. What else have we got on this side? We have got Maggie the Baggie, and we've got a bit of storage in here, like so. There's steps down on both sides. These are raised up because that's the crew cabin. I'll show you that. But we're going to head this way first, but not before having a look in here, because there's a little sink. We've got winches on here as well for stern to berthing. That's a nice feature. And if we come up here, you see it's got little pin lights on it, so these will light up at night. All very sexy. And then up onto the flybridge. And again, they've gone for a similar deal. The table is fixed, but all of this is freestanding. So you can have sunbeds out here, you could put chairs out there, you can do whatever you like. Got the hardtop on this one, it's got the extended bimini that we've got up today, and then the hardtop is this section forward. The other things that you've got up here then, nice little table here, but also the bar is up here too. So this is, there's always bleep when you open them, and I've never understood why. That lifts up like that, and that is your barbecue and nothing at all. However, we've got storage underneath, and we have got storage underneath, but also we've got a fridge. Phew. Well, that's going to be more storage then. Okay, let's drop that one back down. Let's drop that one back down. Another bleep, possibly. What? No, only bleeps to do it, haven't it? Well, there we go. And then up here, lovely seating area next to the helm. Another great chill out zone, isn't it? Lots of lovely chill out zones on this boat, like all that. And then the helm is here. So, twin helm seats, obviously steering, throttles, joystick, all that kind of stuff, all controlled from here. And then you've got the multifunction displays across here. And your view out from here is like this, of an azimuth manoeuvring. And wow, look at that super yacht out there. I'm not sure what that is from this angle, other than to say, pretty darn big. We are at the Cannes Boat Show. Fantastic. Let's go and look at that crew cabin, and then we'll finish off with the engines. So, we'll trundle back down this way. This will drop down so you can have this enclosed if you wish. We'll potter back down these steps. Make a nice change to potter rather than trundle, won't it? And then if we come round here and step back down to where we started, it's a high-low platform. I think I may have mentioned that. Yes, I did. There you go. You heard it here twice. And this then is another heads, and then the crew cabin. Now, it is only a 60-foot boat, remember, so this is just for occasional use. But nonetheless, it is quite a useful space for storing gear, or for occasional sleeping, or if your daughter's boyfriend decides to come along. But also, this is great because it's a toilet and a shower, because that pulls out of there, right off the bathing platform. So people have been out swimming and messing around, they can wander into here, use the loo, shower off if they want to, without taking their grubby salty water inside the boat, which is rather splendid. Okay, we'll come back up here. The last thing to talk about is the engines. If we wander around here, now I mentioned that this owner's gone for rather oversized furniture. The actual hatch is underneath this one, so we're going to use a bit of magical video editing, make that disappear, and in we go. Whoosh. Give that a twist. Again, like we did last summer. And down we go. Now down here we have a pair of Cummins 600 horsepower diesel engines. It's quite a decent engine room when you get down here actually. Full standing headroom, which is interesting on a boat of this size. You don't often see that, but that's excellent. So these are 8.3 litres each, so big engines, and they're running through a pod system rather than shafts, which puts them right at the back of the boat and of course helps free up that accommodation. She's doing about 25 knots with these, and she's cruising at about 20, and you'll get about 225 miles of range at that speed. As ever, drop the speed right back, you'll get an awful lot further. What else have we got here? Fuel tanks are in here. We've got the generator. Gyro stabilizer on this one as well, that's tucked away down there. The other fuel tank is on that side, and then we've got some of the service equipment, the battery charging, all that kind of stuff dotted about the place. So there we go. It's a compact engine room, but it's not bad at all. It is all fairly get-outable. Excellent. Let's come back out of here. We'll close that one back down, and we will magic the settee back again. Okay, and that is about the size of that. I am going to head up here, I think back to this lovely seating area on the front, where the azimuth is still manoeuvring. Love watching boats manoeuvre. Especially somebody who really knows what they're doing, it's always spectacular. Fantastic. And that, my friends, is about the size of that. Massive thanks to Prestige Yachts, they've organised this tour. Huge thanks as ever to you guys for watching. And we will look forward to catching you on another one of these real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
That's boat shows, but we're going to start up here because A, it's nice and empty, and B, it's a really great place to be when you're just coming out slowly like we are now. This is a proper living area in itself. You have this U-shaped seating. These all have pop-up backrests, so you can make them a bit more comfortable if you want to sit around this table and dine. And obviously you've got these really nice sofas here, nice to recline. You've got cup holders in the middle, and they're finished with a bit of teak as well, so they look really, really smart. And then if we move aft, you're on these really, really well protected side decks. And something that is a key feature of the 860 is these open bulwarks, and you'll really see that effect from inside the saloon because you've got floor to ceiling windows, and then this broken bulwark means that you have really good views out over the water from inside the saloon. Nice and protected. We've got good cover overhead as well, so you know you've got this really, really high bulwark too. So even though they're split, you've still got railings. You still look. This comes up to pretty much armpit level. It does feel nice and secure. You've got this covered section here as well. It's nice that they've got glass in here so that again the view isn't disturbed. And then one of the key things about the design of this boat is what they've done in the cockpit. So let's have a look at that. Yeah, so one of the key features about the 860 is the reorientation of this cockpit. So the benches aren't aligned facing into the boat. They're aligned along the centre line like this. So you have a really nice even view for everybody sitting around the table. Obviously that's helped by having the Perspex transom as well. It's like inside, it's that connection to the water. You have the brakes in the bulwarks, you have the glass transom, just making sure you've got as good a view of your surroundings as possible when you're there having lunch out on the water. Up to the flybridge while it's quiet. Let's make the most of it. It's a big one, and as you can see, it's pretty much open space back here. room for freestanding furniture. There's sun lounges on this one, but yeah, that's pretty much free for whatever you want to do with it. Hardtop overhead is standard, but there are some choices with the sunroof. This boat's got fixed glass. You can have a slatted sunroof, sort of opens up like this. So you can have a more traditional canvas roof that peels all the way back and gives you the biggest aperture. I think that's the best option, to be honest, because it makes it the most flexible space. Big table here on the port side. There's a cutout in the middle, so you can remove that, leaving a space in the middle so that people on the bench aren't trapped in when you're having lunch. And it's opposite this big split wet bar. So forward you have the grill, big grill, really nice size hot plating grill there, really big substantial heavy lid. And then on this side you have storage, cooling space, and the sink, which again is big, and a huge heavy lid. I hope to God there's somewhere to store that. Ah, there is. That just slots in there, because that is a big piece that you do not want flapping around. And then you have your sink there, pop-up tap. All you need up here to serve guests during the day. Forward, of course, you have the helm station, and then just a nice big swathe of sunbathing space. This little fiddled area here with a drain, you can put phones in there, loose items down there, there's cup holders. Just a nice place to chill out in the shade of the hardtop. Well, this really is first impressions. First time I've sat at the helm of this boat. She's got 2,000 horsepower, as I said, twin MAN diesels. See what she can do. That's 10 knots, and that's a combined fuel usage of 200 litres an hour. But obviously stay at that speed if you want to try and conserve fuel. But she will top 30 knots, so amazingly, given the heft of this boat, you can really get a bit of a move on. You may be able to tell already it's quite blustery. You haven't got a huge amount of protection up here. There is no windscreen to speak of, so it's quite flowy. That said, for a Ferretti, there is quite a lot of adjustment in this helm, because usually you just get a fixed bench, but now you've got split seats, you've got a bolster function. I'm just sitting, as you can see, slightly perched on the edge of this seat, but it's certainly a very commanding driving position with the screens nice and close to you. Everything is within easy reach, and you can look at all the dials really comfortably. Now this has got the Zenta hydro electronic steering system, so the steering is incredibly light. It's twin shaft drives, twin rudders, but much like your car, the wheel self-centers, so the boat brings itself back to the straight and narrow, which for a boat does take a little bit of getting used to. It's much like when you're spinning out of the junction on your car, you let the wheel run back through your hands. It's quite an odd sensation of something of this size, but actually it works really nicely, and for something this big, it's actually remarkably agile. The turning circle is really quite neat. It doesn't just ponderously wander about, it does turn around really quite nicely. Let's see what we get flat out. That's wide open throttle now. With the wheel going back, it feels slightly strange. 2,300 RPM, 750 litres an hour, but we are travelling at pretty much top speed, and we're just creeping up towards 30 knots. You have got an 1,800 horsepower engine option. I don't imagine many people will go for that, because when you load this up with kit, cruising kit, you can get, as I said, a tender and a jet ski in the garage. You're probably going to want that extra power, and it's not going to cost a huge amount more to have it. We've just ticked over to 30 knots. But very rarely you're going to want to travel at that speed. So we'll just take her back. 22, 23. And that feels really very relaxed. You can sit back in the chair and just enjoy the ride. Now there is the option to have a joystick on this boat if you want, and that also has, they call it a virtual anchor, so you can push a button and it uses the thrusters and the shaft to keep the boat in the same position, much like Skyhook or the system they use on IPS. And obviously you can use that joystick to manoeuvre the boat as well. This boat hasn't got it. You've just got a pair of throttles and you've got your Sleipner proportional bow and stern thrusters. Overall, it's a pretty impressive thing to take the helm off. Just to mention range quickly, the cruising speed quoted by Ferretti, the efficient fast cruising speed, is 27 knots. And there you've got a range of 300 nautical miles, which is actually pretty good going, considering you're travelling at nearly 30 knots, but then you have got a 7,000 litre fuel capacity. So that's what she's like to drive. Let's go and check out the rest of the boat. The saloon does feel very different to the boat that this replaces, the 850. It's much more open, it's much brighter. As I said on the side decks, you can really see the effect of those floor-to-ceiling windows here, how they dive down behind the furniture, and then you've got that break in the bulwark. So even if you're sitting down on these very stylish sofas, you've got a great view out over the water. Enormous TV on this boat here to port. It's not hidden away. There it is, right there opposite the sofa, of course. And there are a couple of different layouts you can have with the dining table. You can have a slightly longer one if you prefer. This is obviously a bit square, maybe a bit more sort of informal. And you notice again that you have dark wood on this boat, but there is a light wood option as well. Ferretti call them moods, but you know, there's a mix of palettes that you can have your own choice. And then you have sliding doors here. These are in a nice position because they're behind the dining table. So, you know, you can get a nice bit of breeze running through if you're eating inside. And again, it gives guests another access point out onto the side decks. Obviously you have the cockpit doors aft as well. We have the boat crewed, which a lot of the time people will on a boat of this size. Then you can partition this off and you have the galley here with direct access out to the side deck. Full size fridge freezer, really good Siemens induction cooking facilities, good size oven as well. Obviously guests are going to be living on this boat for a long time, so you can cater for them pretty properly inside here. Loads of storage and yeah, domestic size appliances. And then the crew can come out here. There's a day head through here that guests will use during the day, so they have to dive onto the lower deck to go and use the toilet. And then forward up a couple of steps, you have the crew space. I would say the crew are living on this boat at the moment because there's stuff everywhere, but yeah, it's in use, so that's the excuse for that. You've got a little dinette down here so that people can come up and join whoever's driving, have a bit of a chat and enjoy the ride. And then you have your lower helm station. Really imposing 3 massive screens, typical Ferretti. Everything is laid completely flat in front of you, so you have to stand up and see everything. But there are 2 nice, comfortable bucket seats as well. And the last area of this more crew-focused space is, of course, the sleeping quarters. Now, the crew are on board, so it's locked up and we won't intrude, but just to give you an idea of, you know, the space down here and where it is on the boat, we're right forward here, so the crew space isn't aft like it often is on boats this size. It's right forward. You've got 2 cabins, a bathroom, and that's your lot. And then you're on the lower deck where you find all the accommodation, obviously, starting with this, the master cabin. It's full beam, and one of the changes again over the 850 is that its bathroom used to be tucked in a corner. On this boat, the bathroom runs almost the full width behind the bed. Not only does that give you a bigger bathroom, but it's another level of insulation between the bed and the machinery space, which is back that way. And as you can tell, we're running at the moment, and sound levels are actually still pretty contained considering there's 4,000 horsepower just through that bulkhead. This is a lovely space, plenty of headroom, flat floor, nice big bed, another enormous television, and a separate walk-in wardrobe just over to that side. If we keep walking through, you can get a feel for the layout of the rest of the accommodation. Big mirrored wall on this side, and then you get to the guest cabins. So here to starboard you have a double with an ensuite. Again, that's a really nice size, good size bathroom, very luxurious cabin, that one. Then there's a twin on this side. Again, it's a slightly smaller cabin, but you've still got that same level of headroom. It also has its own bathroom, slightly more compact, but it still has a separate shower cubicle. Still a very nice space. And then moving forward, you are in the VIP cabin. Now this is an interesting layout in and of itself because you're a couple of steps up, and then actually you don't have the bed at the forward end like you would ordinarily in a VIP. It's actually coming across the centre line with the bathroom on this side, but it does feel like you get a bit more space in here using that layout. You can walk all the way around the bed. There are no level changes in and out of the bed. Again, headroom's great. You've got a bureau, you've got a full height hanging wardrobe, and a really nice size ensuite. Now, one change you can make is in the master cabin, you can have a cinema room with no bed in it, just a big sofa, place to chill out if you don't want that full beam master. It's about 30 degrees here in Cannes, but because the blowers in this engine room are so efficient, it's pretty much the coolest place on the boat. It's amazing. I mean, this is a really good engine space. As you can see, access through the cockpit, down the ladder, and then full standing room, certainly here in the middle. Engines flank you, they're big old blocks, as I said, but access is pretty good. The dipsticks are tucked right down that end though, so it's a bit of a clamber to go and check the oil, but most of the daily service checks are very easy to complete. You just lose a bit of headroom towards the aft end because this is the moulding for the tender garage. There are some nice Ferretti touches as well, like the fact you've got this wandering light on a retractable cable, so if you're down in the darkest parts of the engine room, you could illuminate that without having to use your iPhone torch. You've got twin generators either side, these big exhaust units. Yeah, it's a really proper installation, this, and a nice place to work. So there you have it, a bit smash and grab